Show me one piece of taillight. Tully's like, oh, over here. And Kevin's like, oh yeah, he was in a spot that I couldn't see.
We are so much hotter than the free Karen Reed broads.
That intro cracks me up.
Why is he saying that there's no time to do it? Because there absolutely is time to do it.
I didn't do it.
I'm a good dog. I didn't do it.
You put out this 3-part video proving John O'Keefe entered 34 Fairview. You're talking completely entering the house, the doors behind them shut. That's your conclusion? Because I haven't seen it yet.
That is my conclusion. I did not go into any of this trying to prove that.
It is amazing how us as human apes lie so much in our lives. And it doesn't necessarily have to be testifying, but everything we're doing, like me wearing a hat, you wearing makeup, we're all a big lie for the most part.
So there's differences, right? Like lying, misrepresenting reality. We can do that in a number of different ways. This is a little different. We're talking about the murder of a police officer. That's why I go nuts. It drives me insane. Not only are we being gaslit, but we're being gaslit by the most horrific of crimes. And those same folks continue to be communicating routinely with the victim's family. It freaks me out. It re-traumatizes me every single time I hear it, see it, and relearn it, right? Again and again and again.
All of them could detach except for Brian Higgins.
Brian Higgins?
I will probably never see Brian Higgins talking to Miss O'Keefe because he's the catalyst behind all this. Whether you believe that Jen eventually knew or everyone else knew, they all mentally probably can separate and say, I didn't want to kill John O'Keefe.
Right.
I had no motive. I had no opportunity. If you're claiming that he went in the house and then the people knew about it and then lied about it, then yeah, they're legally culpable, but I could see mentally how they could potentially sort of detach. And Brian Albert,
yes,
being experienced in death and experienced in seeing this type of stuff and helping a friend out secondarily where he wasn't the main culprit probably.
Yes.
Then yeah, I could see him having the ability to detach. But these aren't geniuses, by the way. And I don't want to give them more credit than we'll figure this out. I mean, we're figuring it out inch by inch. There was no way, Sam, the jury in trial number 1 could have figured any of this out, especially what was presented to them. It's impossible. We're learning new stuff every single day.
Absolutely.
That helps. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so there's no way you could have conveyed this to a jury being restricted by the rules of evidence where you can't just put things in, you can't just show them certain things. And we're going to see some of that today. The other thing that you're talking about is this guy, Kevin. Here we go, girls.
Oh, no.
I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to engage with them.
We are so much hotter than the free Karen Reed broads.
That intro cracks me up so much. It is so funny.
Trying to figure out the timeline of the Lexus. This is a case where it's an either or. Either that evidence was planted, or if it wasn't planted, Karen did it. Because the taillight pieces were matched. If it turns out that it was impossible to plant evidence, not because Michael Proctor is a saint,
C-U-N-T,
but because there was simply no time to do it, no opportunity to do it, then there's no cover-up. And then the vehicle ends up at the Sally Port, and I didn't even know.
I have to call timeout on this. Why is he saying that there's no time to do it? Because there absolutely is time to do it. I mean,
that's why I wanted Emily to be in here. Let him finish the time.
I am here.
frames.
I just can't engage with the girls.
What do you mean?
I'm not commenting. I can't say anything.
It's Tuesday, and
so
this
mean
is
to
Kev.
me.
Who's being mean to you?
Julie Carpenter's being mean to her.
They doxed me, and then like my mother-in-law was getting calls, and like I was getting weird text messages, not from them, but like from their people. And then like everything I post, they're like in the comments. And finally, I was like, "Can we just go back to our separate corners of the internet and like leave each other alone?" But I can talk about Kevin Lenihan.
Okay. Got it.
Until the trial. But I knew around September of 2023 what time it left Dighton in rush hour during a blizzard. Absolute earliest that it could have got to the Sally Port would have been, if everything went well, 5:15. At that time, we knew the CERT team had to be setting up. We knew WBZ News they filmed it, so they must have been there early enough. Those trucks get there really early to set up their filming.
And he references the time it leaves Dighton. I know you know this, and I don't even know what time that would be. And I know there was discrepancies in the reports, but his premise is going to be that because the car actually says the car was under surveillance the entire day. He even includes potentially someone getting to the vehicle before it goes to the sally port. I'm focusing on when the vehicle gets to the sally port.
Right.
And he's going to say that because of the time frame which he'll give you, there wasn't enough time.
4 minutes. Just so everybody understands, though, because I've driven this. It's a 4-minute drive to the police department.
At this point, it actually was snowing, so they were driving slower and more carefully.
Right.
But Dighton to Canton, so they left at 4:16. They pulled in at 5:31. That's longer than it should take. Like a lot longer.
And Dighton is the location of what?
Karen's
Dighton
parents.
is Karen's parents' house.
At
So
4:16?
They pulled away at 4:16, and then Yuri and Proctor were behind the tow truck driving.
So what time did they get to the sally port, according to you?
They say 5:30, but there is some very shady stuff happening in those.
But like
in that
legitimately
video.
that you can prove if you had to. What time?
No, that's the timestamp on the
5:30.
Sally Port.
5:30 exactly?
Yes.
Tuesday is just so beautiful. I get so distracted. You aren't guys. Corey and I get distracted by beautiful women. 5:30?
Do you know every Tuesday I get a text message from Vince that says today's the best day of the week?
Because this is just not true. I mean, just
Well,
patently false. Just
In
so
fairness
we know.
to Kevin, let's just hear him out because we want to have him on the show and not attack him, but like this is what he's saying.
I'm not attacking.
Yeah,
I'm just.
I cut out the part where he said throughout the day potentially Proctor could have got to it, but he's saying that wasn't possible because it was on the Ring camera, things like that.
The timeline of the Lexus. This is a case where it's an either or. Either that evidence was planted, or if it wasn't planted, Karen did it. Because the taillight pieces were matched. If it turns out that it was impossible to plant evidence, not because Michael Proctor is a saint,
CUNT.
but because there was simply no time to do it, no opportunity to do it, then there's no cover-up. And then the vehicle ends up at the Sally Port, and I didn't even know exactly what time until the trial, but I knew around September of 2023 what time it left Dighton in rush hour during a blizzard. Absolute earliest that it could have got to the Sally Port would have been, if everything went well, 5:15. At that time, we knew the CERT team had to be setting up. We knew WBZ News they filmed it, so they must have been there early enough. You know, those trucks get there really early to set up their filming. And the main taillight piece is found at 5:45, 3 feet down. It just didn't make sense that into that environment, somehow somebody could have pried pieces off the taillight while it was in the Sally Port and raced to the scene. And then, of course, it became even more impossible during the first trial once we learned that the truck arrived even later than that.
We didn't learn the truck arrived later than that, but okay. All right. So I'm shutting this one down. I can't with Tuesday.
So to be clear, Kevin said that the SUV gets there at 5:15. You're saying it's 5:30, but the first piece isn't found to 5:45. Is that correct?
They said 5:41. It doesn't sound like anybody had like their watch out.
No.
I think that's a
They did not. If Brian Tully tells us that he arrived from the Can PD to the search at 5:30, we know that it's probably at least 10 minutes before he actually did.
Well, okay, wait, play this because that's already a lie.
I received a call from Lieutenant Tully. He called me at 2:32 p.m. We were guided by Lieutenant Tully's information he was able to provide for me. Because Lieutenant Tully had already arrived on scene, he was technically the third member of the state police on scene.
He ultimately, at some point, did direct you to a location behind you, which you were not currently focused on, toward the flagpole, the fire hydrant, you said.
Yeah, I wasn't focused on any area at that time, sir, no.
You marked.
Tully tells Kevin O'Hara, go over by the front door, like parallel with the front door. Tully's like, oh, over here. And Kevin's like, oh yeah, he was in a spot that I couldn't see.
I had to turn around. And then they all turned their cruisers around because they needed lights.
And watch his face when he knows that it was fishy.
Also, did you see Tully when he's asked about that? He's like, no, Kevin O'Hara's in charge. I have denies that he has any real authority involved at all. It's so absurd.
So to answer Kevin's question, though, is it physically possible, given his timeline? I would say, yeah. What is the issue at 5:30?
Physically possible.
Even if the first piece is found at 5:41, it's not physically impossible to get there. Even at your times, Kevin.
No.
And Kevin will come on and defend. I don't know if he knew exactly what the times were, but he was saying even if there was a stuntman, Tom Cruise, Batman, it wouldn't be able to occur. I don't think that's what the evidence establishes objectively.
Absolutely not.
Kevin, in this video right here, Corey's new leaf blower video, show me one piece of taillight. Show me one piece of taillight there. There's 47, like in Kevin's version of events, there's 47 pieces of taillight hiding under that. Show me one piece. And why can't they find it?
His thing is it's physically impossible. I'm saying that that's not true, meaning that you cannot get from the Sallyport to the location in the time frame, but you clearly can. If you're saying it's only 4 minutes to drive it, there is enough
really
time
close.
to have broken 4 pieces off and drove right to the scene. Kevin was saying, well, there were people around, there was the news reporting. Berkowitz can easily get past all those people, and it's so simple to plant 4 pieces of red taillight in the snow.
And the shoe was already planted.
I haven't even got to the shoe yet.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the
agree.
shoe I always thought the Albert family might have put out there. That was my theory.
Exactly.
That was always my theory, just because they would have had the shoe, right?
And raced to the scene. And then, of course, it became even more impossible during the first trial once we learned that the truck arrived even later than that.
Ironically, they used Samantha's intellectual property along with ours in their opening without our permission. And there may be some litigation in the future, but I would probably settle out of court for Tuesday's contact information. But no matter what, listen closely, Brian Higgins.
Brian Higgins?
We will never, ever stop producing these videos until the real killer,
Brian Higgins?
is brought to justice. This crime was very simple to solve because it took place within a very small area over a very short period of time with a very limited amount of suspects. One or more of these 10 people has to be the killer of John O'Keefe. That's how easy this is. Once you remove the kids and the McCabe's, you're down to just 3 suspects: Brian Albert, Higgy Bear, and Chloe. Since Chloe's a good dog, she didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
I'm a good dog. I didn't do it.
So that leaves just 2 suspects, Brian Albert and Higgy Bear. But of the 2 Brians, only one had the means, motive, and opportunity to kill John O'Keefe. And that's our old cuddly but violent Higgy Bear. Once we had all the facts and didn't jump to conclusions, do you see how easy it was to solve this crime?
Loophole lawyer is the most disgusting law tuber of them all.